All right, I'm back. Now, I'm going to read to you The Little Red Hen. So remember, the first book we read about birds was a book on fact. It told us true things about birds. Now, this book is fiction or make-believe, and it's going to tell us a little story about the little red hen. And a hen is a girl chicken, a female chicken. The Little Red Hen by Mary Finch, Kate Slater, and Deborah Messing. Oh, it's narrated by Deborah Messing, which means she's the one that reads it, because I think this book maybe came with a CD. Look at that, to put in and listen to. It's going to be narrated by Mrs. O'Brien today. So let's find out what happens with the Little Red Hen. Once upon a time, a rooster and a mouse and a little red hen lived together in a small brown house with a red roof. There's a mouse asleep on her. One day, the little red hen found a grain of wheat lying in the ground. "Look what I found," she said to the rooster and to the mouse. "I will plant it in the earth. Who will help me?" "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Well, then I'll do it myself," said the little red hen. I wonder why they didn't help her. She scratched at the earth and she planted the grain. "Who will help me water it?" asked the little red hen. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Then I'll do it myself," said the little red hen. She watered the earth and waited for the wheat to grow. The sun shone and the wheat grew taller and straight. When the ear of wheat was golden, she asked, "Who will help me harvest it?" What do you think they're going to say? "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Then I'll do it myself," said the little red hen. She picked the ear of wheat and put it in a basket. "Who will help me take it to the mill to be ground into flour?" asked the little red hen. So here she is with the basket, and she's going to do this long walk up to the mill. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Then I'll do it myself," said the little red hen. The miller ground the ear of wheat into fine white flour. "Who will help me make this flour into dough?" asked the little red hen. Okay, so here's the miller. Looks like he's a donkey. Pouring the wheat in to the grinder to grind it into a fine flour. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Then I'll do it myself," said the little red hen. She mixed up the flour into warm, yeasty dough. "Who will help me knead this dough into bread?" asked the little red hen. It's a lot of work. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Then I'll do it myself," said the little red hen. They're just making a big mess, and they're not helping. She kneaded the dough again, left it to rise, and then shaped it into a round, shiny loaf. "Who will help me put this loaf into the oven?" asked the little red hen. "Not I," said the rooster. "Not I," said the mouse. "Then I'll do it myself," said the little red hen. She put the loaf into the oven to bake. When it was ready, she took out the warm, crusty loaf. "Who will help me eat this tasty, fresh bread?" asked the little red hen. "I said the rooster. I will, said the mouse. Now they want to help? No, you won't, said the little red hen. I shall eat it myself, said the little red hen. And she did. Oh, said the rooster. Oh, said the mouse. You didn't help me, so I ate it myself, said the little red hen. So the next time the little red hen found a grain of wheat lying on the ground, the rooster scratched at the earth and planted the grain, and the mouse watered the earth. Oh, they're helping now. And together, the rooster and the mouse and the little red hen watched the wheat grow tall and straight. Together they took the wheat to the miller to grind into flour, and together they mixed the flour to make the dough. And when the bread was ready, the rooster and the mouse and the little red hen sat down together and ate the nice warm loaf. And it was delicious. Oh, look at this. Bake your own tasty bread. It tells you how. Maybe I'll make a copy of it for you guys to try at home. I know a lot of people have been making bread. So I think they learned their lesson to help. How do you help out at home? Okay, so now we've read a factual book based on facts about birds. And we read a fictional book with make-believe about a story of a little red hen and a mouse and a rooster that learned their lesson. This book, The Little Duck, is kind of a mix between fact and fiction, because what we decided was these are real photographs. The Little Duck. Story by Judy Dunn and photographs by Phoebe Dunn. So these are real photographs, but then they made up a story. One morning in early spring, a little boy was fishing in the pond near his farm. Okay, here's a picture of him fishing. Again and again, he threw out his line and he pulled it in. At last, he caught a fish. The boy gathered his things to go home. Suddenly, he saw something nestled in the tall grass at the pond's edge. What is that? It was an egg, a duck egg. The little boy carried the egg home with him. He placed the egg in an incubator so it would keep warm, and every day the boy turned the egg over as gently as a mother duck. Finally, after 28 days of waiting and watching, the boy heard something peeping and pecking inside the egg, and the shell cracked and broke open. Henry, the little duck, was hatched. Henry did not look at all as the boy had thought he should. His feathers were wet, and they stuck to his body, and his feet were enormous. The little duck stood up on his big orange feet, and he tried a few steps. Then he stretched his spindly wings and wiggled them as fast as he could. He began to get dry and fluffy. This makes me think of a butterfly when it emerges out of its chrysalis. Henry the duck is emerging out of his egg and he's all wet and he needs to dry. Getting hatched is hard work. Henry was tired. He put his head down beside his empty shell and he went to sleep. When Henry woke up, his fluffy yellow down was completely dry. Now he looked more like a real duck. After a few days, the boy placed him in a wading pool. It was time for the little duck's first swim. Henry tried hard to paddle, but the more he paddled, the deeper he sank. Ducks cannot float without oil on their feathers. Baby ducks usually get this oil from their mother's feathers when she sits in the nest with them. But Henry's mother was an incubator. He would have to wait until his own oil glands began to work before he tried to swim again. Well, so far I think this book is pretty factual. The boy quickly scooped Henry up from the bottom of the pool and wrapped him in a towel. Henry was shivering and sputtering. The boy was afraid he'd catch a cold, so he set the hairdryer on warm and dried Henry's feathers in no time. When the little duck was dry again, he found a cozy resting place on the broad back of the family dog. Together they dozed in the sunshine. What a good doggie. Through the summer, Henry kept growing. The boy fed him cracked corn and duck mash. The more Henry ate, the bigger he grew. One day, as Henry was standing beside a puddle, his reflection showed stiff white feathers growing over his yellow down. So here you can see his yellow down. That's the soft feathers. And now look at the change that's happening. Suddenly, Henry's voice began to do something new. While he was small, peep, peep was all he said. But now strange noises came out when he opened his beak. Peep, peep, squawk, peep, quack, peep, quack, quack, quack. Henry was growing up. During the summer, Henry followed the boy all around the farm. Sometimes the boy was busy, and then Henry looked for other friends. One day he waddled down the hill and into the barnyard. He quacked at the hen, but the hen did not care about ducks. That's almost like the hen that we just read about. He quacked at the rabbit. The rabbit listened, but did not say anything. When Henry quacked at the goat leaned over and butted him. Butted when they hit with their heads like that. Do you see? Finally, Henry went back home. Summer turned into autumn and the boy had to go to school. Without anyone to play with, Henry had nothing to do all day. He tried to swim in his blue plastic pool, but the pool had become too small for Henry. On weekends, the boy stayed home, and then Henry was happy. He had a playmate. And sometimes on warm winter days, when the boy was away, his grandfather would rock Henry on the porch. But Henry still seemed lonely. He needed a special friend. The little duck was almost all grown up. Here's the grandfather. Look how big Henry is. He's feeling lonely. He needs some more friends. One bright morning in early spring, Henry waddled off the porch. He was a handsome grown-up duck now, with beautiful curled feather at the tip of his tail. Henry walked straight down the hill, past the barnyard, and across the meadow. Oh, he's becoming courageous and curious. He's exploring on his own. Suddenly, Henry stopped. He opened his beak in a loud quack. Before him was a wide, deep pool of water, much wider and deeper than his blue plastic pool at home. Henry had found the pond. In the middle of the pond, spreading its wings, was the first duck Henry had ever seen. That's not Henry. Here's Henry, quack, looking out at another duck. What's it gonna do? As fast as he could, Henry paddled out to meet the new duck. It looked almost exactly like Henry, but it did not have a special curl at the tip of its tail. The duck was a girl. She quacked at Henry, and Henry had found his special friend at last. So, do you notice they keep talking about the curl? That's Henry, and I know that's Henry because he has that special curl on his tail. And Henry's a boy. And the girl duck doesn't have that curl, so I know that that's the girl. He found a friend. That makes me happy. Soon Henry and his friend had an egg of their own, nestled in the tall grass beside the pond. Okay, hopefully the little boy will let that egg be. So the mom and dad, Henry and the mom, can take care of that egg. So, I guess, I don't know, what would you call that? A fact? A book based on fact? Like this one? Or is it a book of fiction like this one? Is it real or make-believe? I'd like to hear your thoughts. My mother used to have a baby duck. She told me that would follow her around the yard too. And I don't remember its name. I'll see if I can remember. And I think there might actually be a picture of her with that duck. So I'm going to call her today and see if she has that picture. Maybe she can share that with us. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.